There's worse things out there than Jack the Ripper, my girl.
Hello. I don't usually do sort of videos like this, but I think like most people, I'm trying to think of ways to stay productive and to stay creative as well at the same time. And a good friend of mine suggested, why don't I do some videos talking about past films that I'm privileged to have been involved with, and just to talk through, you know, how we made the films, and potentially just a little bit about, you know, how I worked on the characters as well. So I thought I would start with a film that was shot years ago now, I think 4 or 5 years ago. But it was a film that really sort of cemented my love and my desire to continue working in film, and that is, of course, Ripper.
I've seen him! I've seen him! Oh, the Ripper!
The bat! I see the bat! So, for those of you who haven't seen the film, Ripper is a short fan film written and directed by my good pal James Campbell, who is a brilliant writer and a fantastic director as well. And yeah, it's shot in a Italian horror, giallo style, you know, using lots of bright colours and heavy synth sort of score. And it's loosely inspired by a graphic novel called Gotham by Gaslight, which I've got here, and like I say, it's inspired by this novel, but it isn't a film adaptation. There's lots of differences. For example, the book is actually set, you know, in Gotham, whereas our film is actually set in Victorian London. I think Jim quite liked the idea of actually Batman travelling to face Jack the Ripper instead of the other way round, where Ripper's gone to Gotham to start up business. But yeah, so like I say, it follows the story of Agent Aberline, who historically was the detective who was hunting down the Ripper. But obviously, there's a very famous comic book character that's also tracking down Jack. So in Ripper, I had the task and privilege of playing Dodge, who to this day is one of my favourite characters. And yeah, it was really great because I'd known Jim for quite some time, James Campbell, the director. Prior to the film, I'd done some of his student films. When I'd just graduated, and I was just trying to get loads and loads of sort of filming experience, so I was just doing loads and loads of student films. And I'd met Jim along the way there, and we just clicked and realised that we worked together quite well. So from then on, I sort of did all of his following student films up until the point that he graduated, and then he had this idea for doing Ripper, which was obviously a lot more ambitious. It was a bigger project, and it was great for me because I knew Jim so well. I got the chance to be involved from an early stage, and that meant that I got to start maybe having a few suggestions to who this character was. And obviously he's called Dodge in the film, and the idea behind it, you know, we wanted to create a character without signposting it too much, but basically this guy is supposed to be the grown-up version of the Artful Dodger, and like I said, we didn't want to really flag it up too much. But there are clues throughout the film. You know, obviously, first of all, it's called Dodge, bit of a giveaway. But there's other moments. So in the actual Charles Dickens novel of Oliver, the real name of the Artful Dodger is Jack Dawkins. And there's a scene with Bill Fellows where I'm getting sort of interrogated by the police. And at one point he sort of slams his fist on the desk and he shouts Dawkins. So I think you'd have to be a bit of a Dickens buff to pick that up. But that was a little clue. But yeah, it was important to me that, you know, if you've got this guy who has been brought up by essentially two male role models, one of which being Fagin and the other one being Bill Sykes, you know, how would that affect the person? You know, so you've got these elements where he is sort of pulling the strings and controlling people and sort of playing the cheeky chappy, a bit like Fagin might have done to sort of pull cons and tricks. But then on the other side of that, you've got this sort of visceral and sort of aggressive nature that has been maybe, you know, influenced by Bill Sykes. And we always like the idea that with our Dodge, you know, he has got that side to him, but actually physically he can't actually back it up. So when it comes to sort of people of power, so police or, you know, other blokes maybe on the streets, he sort of plays the more Fagin side of things. But then how he controls the people that work for him, namely the prostitutes, that aggressive side comes out, as you can see in one particular scene in the film with Rosie, played by Sally Collett, in the alleyway, and that was sort of the thinking behind it. So yeah, I mean, it was just so much fun to play this guy with. Despite it being a short film, you had this scope of one moment he was sort of the cheeky chappy and sort of trying to talk his way out of the situations, and then on the other side of that, suddenly you've got this guy who can just snap and become a really nasty piece of work, which is always the best characters to play.
And action.
Where the fucking hell do you think you're going? It's still early, Rosie, and there are plenty of geezers out there just dying to be seen to.
I was intelligent, sir.
You fucking were.
I was, I swear, Dodge, be a rich one too.
For you. That makes me fucking laugh.
Dodge, please. The girls are scared. None of them will go anywhere with a man alone.
I don't give a shit! You need to pay, and the girls need to pay, so get that in your thick fucking canny head, alright?
Cut. Oh, fuck.
Now, as well as playing Dodge in the film, like I say, I'd known Jim for a long time, so I'd come on at early doors. So that meant that I got to do a couple of little jobs on the way to the shoot happening. First of all, I made a few suggestions for casting and this, that, and the other, and you know, put some people forward for auditions and that sort of thing. And then secondly, because I'd helped a little bit, and I had such a personal sort of you know, interest and connection to the film, because I'd come on from early doors. I was basically on set like all of the time. So as well as playing Dodge, one of my other jobs in the film was every time you see Jack the Ripper, prior to Bruce Payne appearing on the screen and, you know, giving an absolutely stunning performance. So there's loads of sort of silhouettes of Jack and lots of his hands holding knives and knocking on doors and that sort of thing. And that was all me. So essentially, yeah, I was the stand-in Jack the Ripper, which was loads of fun. And it meant that, you know, constantly sort of changing from being dressed like Dodge and, you know, being in that mindset of being this little geezer to suddenly having to sort of be standing in shadows with smoke and bright colours and looming with the daggers and stuff. So yeah, it was great. So that's a little sort of insight to, not many people know that. Yeah, essentially I was Bruce Payne before Bruce Payne turned up and blew us all away.
Relax.
That's what I'm thinking.
Go on, drop, stop.
So one of my fondest sort of memories looking back to Ripper was the group of people that were brought together to pull it off. I mean, it was a big ask, and as I said before, with fan films, there is no money. You know, you're not going to see a back end because you can't sell it. You can't, you know, you can't charge anyone to watch it. You know, you've just got to put it out there. So it had to be a passion project for everyone involved. And there was so many great people that helped to make the film. You know, obviously Jim had this great idea, and then our good mate Adam Bawabda, who produced it and is probably to this day the hardest working human being I've ever met in my life. And you know, we still work with him to you know, we work all together as a three to this day. But then there were so many other great people. You know, Mike, Mike Staniforth, who shot it as the DOP, was just incredible and just had this constant sort of drive and attitude of never giving up, even if the shot was particularly hard and it was 6 o'clock in the morning. And I suppose all great DOPs have that sort of in them, but he really showed that with this. He came and he gave up his time just because he loved what was trying to be done with it. And then we had other people. I mean, Charlotte Harmon, who was who did the costumes. She came on so late because I think there was a slight issue with the previous wardrobe manager or something. But basically, Charlotte came on at like the 11th hour and was told, we've got quite a big cast and extras and all this, that, and the other. And it's Victorian London, and they don't have any clothes. And she went away and she apparently she didn't sleep for like a week, and then we turned up on day one and she had, I mean, the best costumes. Like I absolutely loved what Dodge wore, and that went for me. But not only that, the whole cast just looked right. And I think that when you're doing something that's period, it's one of the biggest giveaways. Immediately people look at the clothes because it's people had a certain look at certain times, and she did a phenomenal job. But just going back to the camera team, there was two shots, basically two sort of important shots that were right at the end of the shoot, and we was filming at a historic quay in Hartlepool. It was like a historic shipping yard. We actually used there was a big man of war ship, and we used that as Batman's sort of base, as if he'd sailed over from Gotham in America. But there was amazing sort of alleyways and this, that, and the other that we could use. And basically, they said, "Look, you can come in and film here," but they open as a museum in the day, so we went in during the evenings and sort of shot through the night into the morning. And there was two shots right at the end of the shoot where it must have been about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Everyone was shattered, and there was this alleyway, and they were basically wanted a sort of hero shot, and then you could call it like the villain shot. So you've got this big long alleyway full of smoke and shadows and lights, and we needed a shot of Jack appearing out of the smoke, the silhouette, and then of course for the end of the film a shot of Batman, rising out of the smoke, the sort of the hero shot. And I just wanted to touch on that, and I've got some clips actually that I'll put on after this of the work that went into that, because I mean it looks so simple, a silhouette, light, smoke, but it took so much to set up, and so much determination from Mike and the rest of the camera guys, and you can sort of see the results in the following clips.
Speed. Slate 81, take 3, with smoke.
Okay, and action! Action!
Lock.
Right, everybody quiet on set, please! And action.
I just really wanted to quickly touch on Bruce Payne, because anyone who's watched the film, and I will put a link to it below this, has to agree that when Bruce Payne at the end is unveiled, he gives this absolutely like spine-tingling performance, and I just wanted to talk about it, because I think that for me as an actor at the time, obviously much younger, and this guy turned up and he's got so much experience, he brought so much to the table. Watching him and how he prepared for the role, and then what he did when he actually got in the room, was just so inspiring. I mean, there was a great script on the table, but he came with so many ideas, and Jim, you know, generally is quite open to those sort of ways of working anyway. If you've got something to bring to the table, yeah, certainly try it. And he's just reeling off this stuff, and I remember seeing some of the rushes, and it was just amazing, like absolutely amazing. And it was like he just showed you that, you know, he's essentially just tied to a chair talking, but it really, like, all the way through the scene, you're just drawn into it, you know, more and more and more. And yeah, I learned so much from watching that, and yeah, it was great. I mean, I've just finished up on a film recently, actually, and Bruce Payne and Bill Fellows, who again I learned so much from on Ripper, were both in that film. So that was a weird sort of 360. But yeah, like I say, I just wanted to show some appreciation for it, because it was brilliant, and like I say, some of the improv that he did was, yeah, staggering.
Why not? Trying to figure me out. Put me into a box. Label me like a freak. I'm not the one wearing the mask, am I? No, 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 no.
Cut. That might actually go in, that bit. Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it, really. Thank you very much for watching, if you have, and putting up with me rambling. But yeah, if you found it interesting, give me a little thumbs up and a comment. That'd be nice. And if you didn't, don't know, tell someone you don't like to watch it. You know, give me more views, wouldn't it? Yeah, but I mean, like I say, I had such great memories from shooting Ripper, you know, years ago, and I've got so many mates that have came with me through the project, and you know, we're still so close this day. I've got to give a little shout out to Sally Collett, who I've been best mates with since I was 18, and also Chris Sadler, of course, who is the absolute boy, and we've worked with each other for quite a few times. Oh, actually, he's got a sitcom on ITV at the minute called Kate and Koji, which if you haven't watched, go away and check it out. You can't miss him. He's got massive hair and massive guns. Yeah, but thank you very much for watching. Like I say, I'm going to put a few links to obviously the film itself, which is on YouTube. There's also a brilliant BTS documentary film that's about 20 minutes long, that goes into a little bit more depth about, you know, how the film was made, and that's really worth a watch if you are interested. I'll put a link to that, and I'll also put a link to the Ripper Facebook page itself, because there have bane talks in the past of doing a follow-up film with a few other famous Batman characters such as the Penguin and Bane, and there are some brilliant concept sketches and drawings and stuff on that Facebook page, so that might be worth a look as well. But yeah, like I say, thanks for watching, and yeah, hopefully see you next time. Cheers.
Jacob's laughing, but he's very uncomfortable.
And just keep on being.
I was quite happy.